Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the top 10 Pokemon I feel need to be in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So as we all know, the day after this video goes live, we'll be getting some stuff out of Nintendo at E3, and probably with it, we'll include yet another look at the remakes. I figured, to celebrate more news on the games, it would be best to look at what Pokemon I feel really should be featured in the game. Now, I set some parameters for myself with this one. I'm not going to bring up any Pokemon that were already in the Platinum Pokedex, and I won't include Pokemon that are actually available already in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So basically, I looked at all the Pokemon that are left out of that equation, and I think I've come up with 10 entries for this list that I can make an argument not only to belong in these games, so that they can return to the spotlight, but also because they make sense being in Sinnoh from the perspective of picking up these games and enjoying them. But that being said, let's get into things. So let's get things started here with the Pokemon I think makes a lot of sense, but isn't the most flashy Pokemon to add into the games. As you guys know, there are tons of honey trees scattered around the Sinnoh region, and with that being the case, there's an awful lot of honey. Now, I know clearly for bee Pokemon, we've got Vespiquen and its line, but wouldn't Beedrill fit right in with them? As you guys are fully aware, Beedrill didn't make the cut for Sword and Shield, but Butterfree did, even getting a cool Gigantamax form. So, quite frankly, I feel Beedrill is totally overdue for an appearance in the 8th gen. Yes, I get it, Beedrill, despite having bee in its name, is more like a wasp or something like that, but it still can fit right in with all those honey-loving bees in Sinnoh. Surely you guys see where I'm coming from here. This one might be the weakest impact of an addition on the list, but I just really like the idea. Alright, so this next one is a little out there as well, but hear me out. So, what if Fortress returned in these games? Now, there's definitely been a slight fall from grace for Fortress the last few generations, but things are a little bit different now. When you use Rapid Spin, you get a speed boost, and with an item like Heavy Duty Boots, you won't have to worry about any of the hazards Fortress might have had to deal with in the past. It's still very capable of setting up hazards of its own, like Stealth Rocks and Spikes. And remember, it has 140 base defense, so it's still able to take hits. If you want to play through Sinnoh with a Pokemon that sets up using hazards to do a lot of damage, well, Fortress would probably be the best option for that. I mean, hey, it could be a Pokemon on Aaron's Elite 4 team too, perhaps setting up Spikes to help make the battle a little more challenging. I could see the Bagworm Pokemon definitely fitting in. Alright, so what's one big thing we all remember from Sinnoh? Well, it's gotta be Floaroma Town and its colorful layout filled with flowers. It's a pretty beautiful locale in the region, and since it has a lot of these colorful flowers, why not have the Florges line available there? We haven't seen Florges in a hot minute, but if you recall back in X and Y, it was available in flower beds that look very similar to those planted around Floaroma. It'd be a great way to sort of introduce the fairy type into Sinnoh as well, since it didn't exist back then. You can reach Floaroma, and the first fairy type in the region you would run into is a Flabebe. I think that'd be pretty dang cool, and thematically, it would be really interesting. Honestly, I think this is the most likely of anything on this list today, and it'd be cool to have a nice fairy wall come around. So, we talked a little bit about the honey trees earlier in this video, and I have another idea for a Pokemon being reintroduced by way of these additions. Now, obviously, you can find plenty of different Pokemon sucking on the slathered honey of these trees, ranging from Apom, the several bugs, to even Munchlax. Well, what else do you guys think you could possibly find in a tree just chilling out? Well, it's gotta be an Alolan export like Komala. How would it be to go and check your honey tree just to find a Komala tossing its log at you while snoring? It would be an interesting Pokemon to see show up in Sinnoh, and even more so, it would make you wonder how it got there. Perhaps it turns out that Komala is a massive fan of the honey Sinnoh produces, and thus it migrated there in its sleep since it knows crazy trainers will just slather trees with it. I'm not too sure how it got there, or what exactly the reasoning would be that they love the honey, I just know it'd be cool as hell. I mean, hey, maybe the honey from Sinnoh has the same effect on it as the diet of leaves it eats, meaning it helps keep it asleep all the time. It just feels right to me that I would check on my tree and find a Komala, a nice little surprise. Alright, well, I think it's been a rather safe thought that these Diamond and Pearl remakes will have some stuff taken from Platinum, and that means we'd probably see the much beloved Looker return. You guys love Looker, right? Right? Well, regardless of how people felt about him, I think it's a foregone conclusion that he's gonna be in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Well, what kind of Pokemon do you think you'd see following Looker around, helping him out with his international policing? It's gotta be Gumshoes. I mean, we know Looker has spent some time in Alola, so it's pretty believable that he'd have one running around. And this Yungoos might be something that you can run up on. Perhaps it and a few other Pokemon we talk about in this video could be found in the Trophy Garden. I do know for sure that if nothing else, Gumshoes being in this game would be a great addition to Looker's character. Honestly, even if it was an unobtainable Pokemon and was just with Looker, that'd be pretty interesting too. But I know that's not usually how Game Freak does things. So, as you've seen the last few entries, there are quite a few Alolan Pokemon I am expecting to see for Sinnoh this go-around. And starting off the top 5, there's one I think really is fitting for the region. So, as we know, there's a nice snowy area in Sinnoh leading up to Snow Point City, where you'll take on Candace for your 7th gym badge. Now, normally, Game Freak does a good job with throwing Pokemon out there in the general area of a gym that can help you out with that battle. Why not have access to Crabominable on Route 217 or 218, or something like that? It's an ice fighting type, so it's able to hit for super effective damage against some of Candace's ice types. And quite frankly, it'd be more compelling for her to have the Crabominable instead of Medicham or Snover. I am just into the thought of Crabominable being available during a playthrough, even if it isn't a great Pokemon on its own. So I asked Game Freak, why not change things up a bit? It would be a really great option to take on Candace with. Alright, a quick glance at the Platinum Pokedex will show you a few Pokemon that will be returning as fairy types as opposed to normal. We're talking Clefable, Togekiss, and Gardevoir among others, all of them of course being special attackers. Now, that begs the question, what about a physical fairy type? None of these Pokemon are really going to be able to compete on that end of things, so I guess we could use one. I looked over the Pokemon that met the parameters of this video, and I found one that spoke out to me as a real option. Why not make Granbull available in Sinnoh? Now, hold on a second. I know what you're thinking. It was available in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. It just so happened to be a swarm encounter. Well, now, I'm talking about it not being a swarm encounter and actually being in the normal Pokedex, not just a post-game encounter with the National Dex. So essentially, it might as well not even be in the game when it's just a post-game option that you need to hope pops up as a swarm. Granbull has got a great base 120 attack and that Intimidate ability, so it's viable to use in a playthrough. And with moves like Play Rough and the Elemental Fangs in its learn set, well, it's a great Pokemon to use in any playthrough. I really hope it's featured in this go-around. So this one might be a bit obvious, and not exactly the most pretty pick on the list, but I wanted to bring it up anyway. I'm grouping together the mythicals of Sinnoh, Darkrai, Shaman, and of course Arceus. So as we know back in the day on the DS, the only way to get Shaman and Darkrai was through some events. You would get Oak's Letter for Shaman, and then the member card which would allow you to go and get Darkrai. Now, as we all know, you were never given the Azure Flute to obtain Arceus, so the event they had it for never even came to be, which is a shame. It'd be great if this time we'd get that Arceus event. And that would be very, very fitting, considering Legends Arceus will come out so soon after these remakes do. I wouldn't be surprised if it was impossible to catch Arceus in the games, so making it available in the remakes seems like a good thing to do. As for Shaman and Darkrai, there are a couple of Pokemon that would be great to see. And as you've probably noticed from the original reveal trailers, an NPC is seen in Floroma Town that would give you the item which changes Shaman's form. So I think there's a good chance that we might end up getting this thing. We live in the era of mystery gifts and download codes, so being able to distribute these event items, or just the Pokemon in general, is incredibly easy. I'm definitely expecting to see Mythicals make their appearances. So in the penultimate spot here, I have the idea of the Johto starters being included in this game. As we saw with Sword and Shield, Pokemon has come around to the idea of starter Pokemon actually being available in the wild to be captured. It's actually pretty obvious why I'd pick the Johto starters, and that's due to the connection between Gen 2 and Gen 4 thanks to the Johto remakes way back then. Why not have them either available somewhere in the wild, or just make them a Pokemon you can obtain from a visiting Professor Elm or something like that? I mean, in X and Y, Sycamore gives you a Kanto starter, albeit those are able to Mega Evolve, so there's a real reason to it. I just feel like these starters need to be in these games. It'd be such a cool add-on, and the fact that some starters aren't available right now is a real shame. Alright, we'll wrap up the list here at number 1 with the top Pokemon I think for sure needs to be in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. Now look, this one is probably going to catch you a bit off guard, and I think that's completely understandable. As we know, there is one glaring issue in Diamond and Pearl. If you didn't choose Infernape for your starter, you were pretty much completely out of luck when it came to having a Fire-type Pokemon on your team. When Platinum came around, they added a couple more, but not much. So I had thought that perhaps we could add another Fire-type option into the early game of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That fire type is none other than Litleo, and of course its evolution, Pyroar. I had a thought that perhaps it could be the enemies with the Shinx you find in the early game, some of having a decent rivalry with them. Now, if you're the kind of person who picks Turtwig or Piplup, you'd have access to a fire type right out of the gate instead of way later when you can find a Magby or a Ponyta. I know Pyroar isn't exactly the most glamorous fire type, but boy does it make a ton of sense to have Pyroar running around here in these remakes. You'll be happy to have an option at a fire type early on. Trust me, it solves a real classic Gen 4 issue. Well, that will do it for this top 10. I want to hear from you guys what you think about it. What Pokemon do you feel need to be in the remakes? Do you have any interesting reasons why or how they could fit into the story? I'll be looking out for what you guys have to say, and I look forward to more Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl videos in the future. So with that said, thank you to everyone for watching the video. Huge thanks to my phenomenal team and the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If you all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too, as it really helps us out. I also do other content on my Twitch, where I stream Genshin Impact, Mystic Zora, where I do Pokemon Let's Plays and other gaming content, and of course MysticSage, where I do all anime content. Right now, I'm focusing on Inuyasha and Yashahime, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. If you'd like to support me even further than that, check out my Patreon. Whether it's a $1 tip to get early thumbnail access, or the $10 tier to get cool perler bead charms and a shout out. There's tons of reasons to join today. These lovely people did, and I thank them all so much for their support. It really means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrion, and I will see you all next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.